What do you think about the American response so far and NATO?
I have mixed feelings. If we look back at if West will do sanctions like they did now back in 2014 when Russia occupied Crimea, we won't be talking right now about war in Ukraine. Because that sanction they applied now, they crippled the Russian economy in 1 week. So that's kind of, I blame West for being so, I don't know what the proper word, not relaxed. It's all about money. I was telling my friends back in Ukraine, don't expect any serious help from America because there is no oil. If Ukraine had a huge oil reserves, there'll be air carriers, there'll be everything here. I mean, remember Kuwait, little tiny country, and what happened when Iraq attacked that country? So every time there's oil involved, America really cares about democracy. When there is no oil, there's a challenge there. It's just historically, you look Iraq, you look Libya, all those places had a lot of oil. Ukraine had nothing. And the response was lukewarm. Let's put it that way. It was lukewarm response, right?
And I'm sure, Churchill would have said the same thing in World War II. Look how long it took. I mean, it took us a long time to react to, both World War I and World War II. We needed a reason. So in World War I, it was the sinking of the Lusitania was part of it. In World War II, Pearl Harbor. But I'm not sure what got us to war or to help out in Europe. We were very late in getting there. Hitler had already taken over Poland, if I remember.
Oh yeah. I mean, even there was a period of so-called strange war because British and French, they announced war against Germany, but they didn't do anything besides this little bombing here and there. But it's always this hope that, you can appease the dictator. You can just give him a little bit, let's give him Czechoslovakia and he'll be happy, It's just, and the same with Putin, okay, he took Crimea, sure, we slapped him on the hand, you're a naughty boy, and he's just like, okay, well, let's see what happens if I take you Eastern Ukraine. Okay, still nothing. That might as well go for whole Ukraine. I mean, history just repeats. And, it's not really like American job to run around the world and, make sure everyone behaves properly, but kind of this expectation out there. So definitely.
Well, we also know what happens when we do get that war machine moving is, I tell people now that we're still seeing the effects of ramping up for World War II. If you go to any army surplus store, you can still buy equipment and supplies from World War II, and the whole defense industry started then. And war production, and we're still kind of a military industrial complex here in the United States because of what we did then. And so if this turns out to be something like that, I think everyone's predicting how big it will get, how it will escalate. For example, if we do this no-fly zone.
Yeah, no-fly zone is you can't do that. It's like a poker game. If you're not playing to play the card, you just buff. You're not gonna do it because you need to shoot down Russian planes. That's direct, kind of attack on Russia. Russia has nuclear weapons, so that's totally out of questions. The only way they can do it is bring equipment to shoot down plane. Let Ukrainians do it, just like Russia, Soviet Union did it in Vietnam. They brought their rockets and let Vietnamese or Russian advisors. Instructors to shoot down American planes. So I see totally proper Americans to do the same thing.
And I can also add to that regarding those aspects that I, as a European, can feel embarrassed, and I can feel it's a very negative experience that, for example, when I was in high school in like 2004, 2005, that period. So I was reading about the Orange Revolution in Ukraine, and I was so kind of supportive. I was so positive and optimistic at that time, for democracy. And then later on in 2014, Maidan revolution, I was also very supportive, and 1 year later, I even went to Ukraine for the first time. But I also know that many people around in Europe, they actually had the completely opposite opinions. They didn't support the Maidan revolution because they would brand it as a far-right coup, or they would brand it as, let's say, how to say that, it's kind of provoking Russia, and why do we need Ukraine, the European Union? Yeah, that kind of behavior. And the thing is that people who, how to say, my experience from Ukraine is that many Ukrainians, they feel more, let's say, European than many of us in the European Union identify ourselves as Europeans. So, this is kind of in one way a paradox, but that's the reality. And I would say, like, the European Union has still not done enough to provide enough support to Ukraine. I mean, both before 2014 and after 2014. So.